For decades, global diplomacy relied on rigid institutions. Today, that entire system faces a reality defined by one unpredictable personality. The G7 summit was designed as a highly formalized space. Leading democracies gathered strictly to coordinate the global economy. Now, that structure is buckling under immediate geopolitical stress, facing intense, looming conflicts over defense spending and the ongoing war in Iran. The cracks really started showing at last year's gathering in Canada. The U.S. president abruptly walked out a day early, leaving allies stunned and tearing up decades of diplomatic protocol. Those fractures mean expectations for these summits have cratered. Former State Department spokesperson Ned Price summed it up perfectly. Modern statecraft has become a little diplomacy, lots of vibes. The bar for a successful international summit is no longer signing sweeping multilateral treaties. Success now simply means avoiding a massive public blow-up, whether in person or on social media. Formal policy negotiations have shifted. These leaders now prioritize the specific temperament of their American counterpart over the traditional summit agenda. To survive this environment, allies have developed a highly specific diplomatic playbook. The first page is the art of calibrated pushback. These leaders face a difficult bind. They cannot be seen simply bowing to American demands because they have to project strength to their voting base back home. French President Emmanuel Macron executed this maneuver perfectly earlier this year. Speaking to a massive audience in Davos, he threw a public, calculated jab, declaring that he prefers respect to bullies. Canada's Prime Minister, Mark Carney, took a similar approach, issuing a rallying cry for middle powers to seize control of the disruption caused by great powers. But jabbing the U.S. president is risky. To ensure those public remarks don't trigger severe retaliation, leaders deploy Tactic 2, overcompensating with extreme hospitality. We can see this in action at the G7 itself. Macron specifically chose to host his international counterparts at Avion-les-Bains, an ultra-luxurious alpine spa resort. They are laying out physical red carpets and full military pageantry, creating an environment designed entirely to flatter the American leader's ego. It is an exhausting, high-wire balancing act. Leaders must perform toughness for the cameras at home, while delivering lavish, behind-the-scenes flattery to keep the geopolitical machinery running. The third tactic represents the steepest departure from traditional governance, the total bypassing of official state bureaucracy. Complex international relations are no longer routed through ambassadors. They are playing out through direct, smartphone-to-smartphone text messaging between heads of state. By severing those layers, leaders isolate themselves from their own intelligence briefings and institutional guardrails, leaving only a raw, unvetted connection. The White House actually bragged about this dynamic earlier this year, publicly releasing a glimpse into a text exchange between the president and Emmanuel Macron to show off their interpersonal charm. It extends across the border, too. Canada's chief trade negotiator, Janice Charette, recently confirmed that Prime Minister Carney maintains a constant back-and-forth text relationship with Washington. These men are casually firing off messages between meetings, yet the subjects of those texts hold massive, serious consequences for our global trade routes and mutual defense. The heavy, bureaucratic safety nets of the 20th century are gone. The modern diplomatic system now relies entirely on good vibes, and whether a head of state decides to text back. Which brings us back to the immediate stakes in France. The administration has secured a preliminary agreement regarding the conflict in Iran. With no clear path to a long-term deal, preventing war relies completely on maintaining good moods at the summit. If these global leaders miss a single step in their playbook, if the flattery falls flat or a text goes unanswered, they risk triggering a cascading crisis. The momentum of formal treaties no longer serves as the primary guarantee of a peaceful outcome. This shift toward vibes circumvents the structural resilience found in traditional bureaucratic channels. When the usual guardrails are bypassed, global stability narrows down to the interpersonal psychology of a single individual. The modern international order is brittle. It is held together not by unbreakable laws, but by a delicate web of carefully managed, highly volatile personal relationships.